Tesla's been in the news lately because they always are in the news.
When are they not?
Yeah, I guess this is the news source we choose to follow. It's just Tesla and only Tesla. Specifically now, aside from everything else that's going on, Elon Musk made a statement that really got people talking.
When does he not?
He was accepting an award, and there was a question asked of whether or not it would be a good idea to merge with Tesla. As in, like, merge Tesla with another company, or
Automaker?
Tesla buying an automaker. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And let me get the quote here. He said, "We're definitely not going to launch a hostile takeover, but if somebody said it was a good idea to merge with Tesla, we would have this conversation." Now, I'm sure he didn't say it like that. He probably stuttered a few times, but
wow,
it really it really opens the floor here. Do you think it's a good idea for Tesla to buy an automaker? They have the money. They're currently worth what? More than every single automaker combined?
Basically.
Right? Is that not a fact? They're over 500. Number 2 is Toyota at like just above 100.
200 something.
And you have the Ford like what, 40, 50-ish
30,
billions?
40, something like that.
Still a long way to go for everyone to be back to where they were. And then here's Tesla that have not just surpassed their previous all-time highs, but surpassed the entire race. Everyone there is lapping them.
Remember, Tesla's like 20 companies in one, though. Can't forget that. That's what everyone likes to tell me.
Tesla's clearly valued not as an automaker. Whether they should or shouldn't is a discussion for another argument we'll have later on. But do you think it's a good idea for them to buy an automaker? Now, let's run some pros and cons here. Right? They have the money. They could technically buy literally anyone. So just free to choose. They're probably not best to buy someone who's significantly in debt like Ford. I don't really have the list of automaker debt to find out which one's best to buy right now. But speaking directly theoretical, assuming just, face value,
yes,
they'd get a lot out of the deal. Tesla lacks factories. They lack location. They're trying to consistently build factories and keep up. If they just got handed, 10, 20 factories, things would be looking pretty good for them, would it not?
Don't oversimplify it. They have to convert each one of those factories, which, yes,
Correct,
is easier than building up one from scratch, but still.
Yes, they're taking, 6 to 12 months total just to build the frames of the factory. We saw it in Shanghai. We're seeing it in Germany, excluding the actual mechanics of it. So it saves a lot of time. And they're doing Giga Texas. They're also wanting to build a factory for battery production. So it does save some time. And there is a long list of factories in Tesla's future. This is nowhere near the end of it.
I feel go ahead.
What?
No,
what?
I feel like they can just buy a factory. They don't need to buy an entire automaker just to get some factories.
It's a little easier to just buy. I mean, Tesla did start by buying an automotive factory.
Correct.
Because it's easier.
Yes.
They have the equipment. They convert the equipment versus having to start from scratch.
Mm-hmm.
It's just easier and time saving. Does Tesla want to save time and make things easier? They don't need to. They could take all the time in the world they have. So they don't have to buy another automaker.
Yeah, but I don't know. Maybe we're not operations managers, but I don't know if there's some constraints that you have to work around when you have to work around a factory that was designed to build, cars with actual engines versus cars that don't use actual energies. I mean, obviously, when they build a factory, they have complete flexibility of what exactly they need, rather than working around previous architectures.
I'm sure you're correct. You're correct. Elon previously did state that I believe it was a Mitsubishi plant, which was what the initial.
It was a it was a Toyota GM.
Whatever it was, I recall him stating that when they got the factory, there was nothing there but broken equipment, which they had to fix up and replenish and bring back to life in order to get the factory rolling. So no, of course, it's not easy, but at the same time, if Tesla were to buy an automaker in this theoretical, would they just on the spot just stop production of that car? Let's say Tesla bought Ford, I don't think the play is to stop building Fords.
Well,
You slowly and gradually convert the cars to EVs and do what you have to do, and now you have a supply line. You have logistics figured out. You have dealerships, which is the biggest issue Tesla really has, is logistics. Yeah, their stores work and their direct sales method and home delivery are fantastic, but there's still a wait. If I want to buy a Tesla today, I cannot, for the most part. There's very few Tesla locations where I would be able to leave with a car on the spot. Meanwhile, if I want to go buy a Ford Mustang, I could get one, 15 minutes?
Well,
maybe 6 hours in paperwork, but
there you
15
go.
minutes nonetheless.
There you go.
So I think it would be helpful. Do you not?
I don't think
Are you in a disagreement?
I don't think the optics of it are good. Tesla from the very beginning has always been electric cars, renewable energy, and even if people come with the understanding that they buy an automaker and eventually transition them to complete electric cars, there will still be years and years where there will now be gasoline cars associated with Tesla.
Unless it's a sub-brand. Keep in mind, every automaker has sub-brands.
Yeah,
Ford
but it's still
Lincoln.
a sub-brand owned by Tesla.
Uh-huh.
So,
but no one really correlates those, though. If you really think about it, how many people know that Porsche is owned by Volkswagen?
True, but
how many people know Lamborghini is owned by Volkswagen?
I don't
Bentley,
think
Rolls-Royce.
Yes, but I don't think those companies are. I don't think people look into those companies as well as they do into Tesla. No one else knows the names of the CEOs of those companies, but everyone knows who Elon Musk is. So we're in a completely different plane of like cultural knowledge of Tesla, and people will know it.
So you think it would
more.
hurt them? You think that if Tesla owned a company that they were actively converting to electric but was currently gasoline, it would hurt them?
From a brand,
just because from a brand image.
From a brand
you think
image, I feel.
I agree, even negative brand image, but do you feel that the negative brand image would really hurt them that much more than the positive gain from having, again, the logistics, the factory, more customers, more locations?
Probably. Well, probably
how many people are really in Tesla for the brand? I know when it started, for certain, all the reservation holders, and even now for the Cybertruck, they were really only there for the brand, but Tesla's kind of past that. Now they're in a mass market. And I don't think the mass market cares as much.
I feel like the brand is still, I mean, we bought Tesla Kila, Tesla short shorts, Tesla USBs, Tesla
yeah, but how many
Hot
of
Wheels.
those are they selling? I don't think that.
Well, I don't know. I'm sure
more
they're
than confident
limited.
in saying that I'm more than confident in saying that Tesla has sold more Model 3s in year than Tesla Kila bottles.
Well, duh.
I'd go as far to say that there's been more Model 3 sales this year than visits to that Tesla Kila sales page.
Yeah, but I still feel there's definitely more because no one's buying a Volkswagen Kila. No one buying a BMW Kila.
Well, there is Porsche merch, there is BMW merch. I don't know. I feel like you're getting caught up in the branding.
But merch is like a T-shirt's a T-shirt. Anyone can sell a T-shirt.
So you think that if Tesla owned Porsche, I'm just throwing out random because maybe I'll throw one out there and you'll be like, that's a good one. If Tesla owned Porsche, you think less people would buy Tesla Kila? Is that what you're getting at? I don't understand.
I'm just looking from a brand image point of view where Tesla is now completely associated with gasoline cars when it has been the only car company that has been fully electric since inception. I feel like people will start to feel like, I don't know, morals are being broken or missions are not being accomplished or whatever they want to think.
In this theoretical, if Tesla buys an automaker like BMW, I would just assume out the gate that their sole intention is to fully convert BMW to electric. I would never suspect that they would keep it as just gasoline BMWs. So if they came out with that out the gate, knowing that they're going to convert it, people knowing that they bought it just to convert it, you still think that that's negative? That's converting how many hundreds of thousands of cars a year
because
extra into electric. That's
because
long-term beneficial.
because even aggressively, it's going to take like 10 years minimum. And I don't think they can do that. Take an existing automaker and forcefully bring it to be fully electric, because you have to obviously consider what that brand's consumer base is like. And currently, most of those brands' consumer base is not looking for an electric car. I don't think you'd be able to take BMW, for instance, and even if you could magically change every single one of their cars, which is a lot of cars, I know you know, to electric cars in the snap of a finger, you're going to lose out on sales, I bet.
No, but see, here's the thing. I'm a strong believer that if we snapped a finger and every new car on the market was electric, car sales wouldn't decline. Are you in disagreement with that statement? If we snapped a finger, every new car was electric, I think they'd stay the same. I think sales would stay the same. I think people buy gasoline cars because, yeah, they are more convenient for some situations.
Wait, but what if there was one brand that still had gasoline cars? Do you think their sales would exist? Would increase?
Would go up? It would depend on who it is.
Are sales not changing because they're in this hypothetical? There is no alternative, and you're just gonna have to buy an electric car.
Yeah. If there was no alternative, then for sure I think sales would. If there was one, let's say BMW was the one that's stuck out and stayed electric, yeah, their sales would probably go up a bit, but I don't know if it'd go significantly up. Maybe double. I guess you can consider double significant.
I don't know what existing.
So no automaker you suggest Tesla to buy.
Comes to mind immediately? No.
Not even smaller ones like Porsche that do relatively lower volumes that would be easier to convert to fully electric?
I feel like if they do, it does have to be on the smaller end, not just because of the time it will take to convert everything, but I feel like many other companies won't really gel with Elon's methods and expectations of running a company. So it has to be small in order to have less bureaucracy, I guess, in it, because that transition period in terms of organizational personnel is going to be hell for basically any automaker coming in if they do decide to do it. But I don't think no Ford, no Chrysler, no Volkswagen. I don't think any big company is going to go under the umbrella of Tesla.
What if it's an electric car company? What if they buy Neo, Rimac, Rivian, Lucid? Something that doesn't necessarily need to be converted. Would that hurt them in any way in your image?
Well, if I'm being really cynical and looking for things to be mad about, then yeah, I guess you could say that in that case, you could be like, well, why is Tesla buying another electric car? I thought they had the best electric cars, yada, yada, yada. So are they admitting that they don't have the best technology or stuff like that? If I really wanted to be
If you were not playing devil's advocate, do you think it's negative for Tesla to just go out right now and buy every EV automaker?
Well, I personally, I'm not a CEO by any stretch of the imagination, but if they were going for that, I feel like they would have to obviously go for some sort of company that is serving a niche that they don't have any plans for. So if we look at Tesla's current model lineup and their, upcoming model lineups, the only vehicles I can't think of is like a really big SUV, a van, or, I'd say motorcycles, but Elon said they're never going to make a motorcycle because he almost died on one.
Well,
I don't know how strong he is on that one, but...
Let me pause on that one real quick, because Arcimoto is obviously in the news. I don't know if you saw that Elon test drove one of their vehicles.
My boy Gio told me.
Which also brought in the question, hey, why is Elon testing these vehicles? Is Arcimoto the company that's being considered to purchase? Elon did say that he does not like motorcycles because he was in a motorcycle accident. But at one point on Twitter, he clarified and said that three-wheeled bikes with the two wheels in the front, like Arcimoto, are a lot less dangerous. So continue.
Oh, and I think he said dirt bikes are also fine. Just no street bikes.
No, did he say dirt bikes?
I think so.
Yeah, I think you're right. No, nothing on the street. But in terms of Arcimoto being because I see a lot of people bringing that into question, But then others are like, well, Elon said no to motorcycles. He did, unless I'm misremembering and I dreamt this up.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to fact check myself through Twitter advanced search.
Mm-hmm.
But someone had stated like, well, through, science, physics, aerodynamics, and Elon had responded with a, yep, that's right, like he typically does.
Mm-hmm. Well, even if we go for Arcimoto, obviously, I mean, Arcimoto's a little vehicle niche.
What if they buy
pretty
Neo
small
and just make that the Model 2? Wouldn't that be easier? Or Rivian does fulfill the larger SUV and
Big
luxury
SUV.
status, and it has the luxury status of the truck and their SUV, and they have delivery vans. I feel like Rivian would be a smart one.
I don't know. I feel like Tesla's really grown this expectation of we'll just do it ourselves mentality.
I don't know if that's right though.
That or perception of them that it, let's make a truck. All right, we'll make a truck. Mobileye couldn't. They had that beef with them or whatever. It's like we'll just do it ourselves. We'll make our own autopilot and stuff. Full self.
But they have bought companies. They have bought companies.
The Maxwell for the batteries, yeah. So, yeah. But I feel like that's a little bit different because it's like a component rather than
but that
finished
was,
product
at the time.
Of something.
It's different though, because at the time that's what they could afford. Do you think if they rewinded and went back to that era with 500 billion, they wouldn't have bought a bigger company?
Well, I'm the two.
You got to realize this growth has been significant. What were they around this time last year? Only 50 billion? 1,000% gains? I don't have the exact numbers, but it's been pretty significant.
It's been a minute. I'm just obviously how I took that quote is they're not looking for it, but if someone's gonna come up to Elon and be like, "Yo, Elon, I'll sell you my company for a package of peanuts," well, Elon's gonna say, "Yeah, sure."
So you think Elon would have taken the GM deal? I mean, the Nikola Badger deal.
Well, I can't be having. I don't think anyone. I think everyone would have vetoed that because Elon Musk and Trevor Milton in the same room or on the same Twitter space is just too much, and we know Elon is not hydrogen at all. So I feel like just on the principle level, he was not going to take it, even if all they wanted was batteries. So I'm interpreting it that way. If someone comes up with at least somewhat of a product and says, Elon, just give me a Model S. Or you have my company, he'll be like, all right. But I don't think Elon is out there shopping different companies and trying to give, hardball negotiations with anyone.
I agree, yeah.
So,
but who would you like to see Tesla own? Who's your dream merger with? Assuming the brand still stays as a sub.
Right, no, yeah. I mean, honestly,
it's just Tesla technology.
Honestly, I don't really have one because the brands I like electric cars and stuff is like Audi and Porsche and stuff like that. And, they're somewhat historic brands and their brand identity is pretty solid.
Which are both owned by Volkswagen, by the way.
Right, yes. So I don't know what them being bought by a completely different company would do to their just entire, how they do design, what they prioritize when they make cars.
All those companies that you mentioned, and when I say all those, I mean
but that was before my time.
Specific companies that you mentioned.
I know, but that was before my time. I grew up with Volkswagen-owned Porsche and Audi, so that's what I know, and that's what I like. So if they transition to a different owner, I don't know what's going to happen with them. So, would I love, Audi and Porsche design with the specifications of, a Model S Plaid? For sure, 100%. But I don't know what kind of influences Tesla would want in a separate brand. Would they just dissolve the brand and just make it all Tesla? Would they make a sub-brand like you said? Would that sub-brand even carry the same name, or would they come up with something else? I don't know. So I don't really have this want of Tesla going with anyone specific because on top of that, like I said, Tesla has this real mentality of we'll just do it ourselves. So I've never really been thinking about well, who else could they do? When I think like, Tesla's really missing a van, or Tesla's really missing a big truck, or a big SUV, I'm like, well, they'll just probably get around to it eventually.
Elon at one point did mention a consideration of collabing with, I believe it was Mercedes to do an electric van.
For the van, yeah.
Yeah. It's not like this is new. Tesla's kind of always been open to partnering with people. At least they've publicly been open to partnering people, because we've never actually seen them partner with anyone, but we've seen a lot of mention of, yeah, I do this, I do that. Nothing ever actually done. Like they said they're open to other companies using the supercharger network, except no one's actually been able to use the supercharger network. So,
I mean, if Fisker creates a solid state battery,
merge with Fisker.
Maybe Fisker.
I think Rivian and Tesla are a match made in heaven, but I think Rivian at this point is worth too much.
Yeah.
It fits so well because Rivian does everything that Tesla hasn't started yet. It works so well. It's a perfect fit. It's not just renders. They have a factory. They have production.
Yeah, but Elon doesn't like Jeff. So that little Amazon deal they got.
You got to buy out Jeff.
Elon's not going to be for it.
Arcimoto, I guess, also makes sense because Tesla does want to enter the smaller utility vehicle realm with the Cybertruck ATV.
Yeah.
It does make sense because we saw that ATV wasn't actually made by them. It was made by Zero. I guess Zero's also a good buy.
I was thinking Zero too, but all of Zero's stuff is
street bikes, and Elon's against that. Yeah, so it can't be. So if they were going for a smaller, what do you call those things? Are they utility vehicles? Recreational vehicles? Yeah, recreational. If they were going for a smaller electric recreational brand, it can't be something that sells street bikes. So the only one that really fits the bill that I feel Elon would be okay with, and clearly he showed that by, again, going to test drive it, is Arcimoto. I don't know who else. Who's making strictly electric recreational vehicles? Rimac would be a good buy. I feel their tech is great.
Yeah, but Tesla's been leaning away from like the supercar.
You wouldn't like to see a $3 million Tesla? The La Tesla?
The La Tesla. Elon's just gonna buy Ferrari. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a fun.
Elon doesn't even need to have Tesla buy anything. Elon could just sell his stock and buy it himself at this point. At this point, Elon could own Ferrari solely without Tesla.
If Elon wasn't so dead set on getting to Mars, he would have definitely bought it. Like McLaren out, made him make a personal F1 for him. That was electric, but no. I mean, it's definitely.
So you think it's gonna happen? You don't think it's even in question? You think everyone's out here acting like baboons?
I mean, I just feel like you have to fulfill so many different check boxes for this to work. It has to come at a good price, and it has to fulfill something, and they have to want to be under Tesla, and they have to provide something that Tesla doesn't have or isn't planning on giving. Clearly, we see Tesla as, doing some magic with batteries, because in terms of efficiency, they seem to be far ahead of everyone else. And
that really is their only thing that they excel at, is battery and technology. Their production and their quality has never been the best. Their lack of innovation when it comes to creating new products has never been the best. What are we on, the same Model S for how many years?
Hey man,
there is something to come from other companies. I don't think Tesla's a perfect company at all.
Sure, but I feel like only the bigger companies can give that aspect of it, and I don't know what big company is gonna go for it. Because I mean, all these big companies have been around for decades. And
I'm giving it a strong possibility.
You're giving it a strong possibility?
A strong possibility. I mean, with the amount of money they have, I just think it would be silly not to buy something. It's just a shortcut. It gets them quicker, even if it's a little bit of a headache.
Terrible, bro. That's terrible, bro. Just because you got money does not mean you need to buy something.
Listen, Amazon bought Whole Foods just because they could. waiting for Elon to buy Walmart just because he can.
I'm waiting for Elon to buy Target. They're both red. The logos are both red. It's,
they got
superchargers there already. So
yeah, why just buy a car manufacturer? Buy something else that that they can use in another way. I don't know, buy
Elon gonna
AutoZone so they can convert them to service centers.
Elon gonna buy
There's a lot.
planes.
It's definitely it's always easier to buy something than it is to start it from scratch. Especially if you already have the foundation built.